tools you'll need is an at least 1 meter brake bar. You'll need with 1/2 inch end. You'll need a size 19 socket, size 19 spanner, a medium-sized Allen key. You need your ratchet. You need a 46mm socket that's 100mm deep. It's made out of that. I don't want to butcher the name. And of course, the obvious things is you'll need the jack and the jack stands. I'm going to be taking off bottom ball joint and mgtf. First, you'll want to get a size 19 and release this bolt on top. We'll show you stage by stage what's next. What I've done is I've taken the brake disc and caliper off. You do not need to do that unless you're doing the drop link arms like we are. When you get far enough at the top, most of them have a Allen key bit at the top you have to put in and use a spanner. This one has a star shaped, and that's how you do it. That was a demonstration, and that was the light going. As you can see, you've got to take it off like that. Ours had a small bit of trouble, so we had to pop out the angle grinder. That's what it should look like now. All you've got to do is pop the suspension off. Bit of a pain, so you need to lift. You need to try and lift all this to release the pressure on the suspension. What you want to do is you pull that down and just pull the suspension, and it's out. What you want to do first, you need to put a rag over the drive shaft gaiter, and with the wood on your jack to move the suspension up, you want to make sure it's plenty far enough and not touching the track rod, which of course is that bit down there. And then you just need to slowly jack the suspension up to give enough room, and then you can push down on this bit to adjust the piece of wood again, because it kept hitting onto the track rod, and you might come across this problem a couple times yourself, and you'll just have to keep adjusting it till it's perfectly aligned and your suspension's high enough to get a ratchet piece onto the bottom ball joint. What I very nearly almost forgot is the little washer looking thing around the edge is a locking type nut. So any bit where the corner's bent up, you need to get a screwdriver and unbend it in order to get the ball joint out. So we've flattened it out with a screwdriver and a hammer, and it should look completely the same as the rest of it once flattened out. What you need to do is put a lot of pressure on, and you need a pretty darn long bar, at least a meter. You need to push down on the actual brakes, where the brake pad goes, disc. Oh yeah, and you've also, don't put it too far, otherwise the drive shaft might pop out of the actual gearbox. This is what the one that I just pulled off looks like. destroyed and broken. This is what a brand new one should look like. Can't move this top piece, the rubber's all intact, it's nice and shiny. What you need to do now is put the locking ring onto the hole. Then you need to actually put the actual bottom ball joint in and hand tighten it to as much as you can. Then get your 46mm piece socket, which is just ridiculously oversized for the small ratchet I'm putting on. And do it up until it's too tight for you to do with the ratchet, and then do it up even tighter with the bar. What you now want to do is hammer in or hammer down one side and hammer up the other side of the little washer, which I'll demonstrate. What you've got to do now is slowly lower the suspension to try and get the bottom ball joint piece through the hole. So you've got to sort of lower it and push over it. If you can, try and bend it and get it in the hole and then get it to sink down. I'll show you what it looks like afterwards, because this is a very complex bit. So what you might have to do is put the jack and jacket all back up into the hole. Once you've done that, you can put the bolt on. You put your bolt on, which remember again is size 19. You want to ratchet that up until it's as tight as you can get it, and then for good measures you probably want to use your bar. Anything like ours, the other one on our cart didn't, but if it's like this, you're going to have to put an Allen key in the top to stop the ball joint moving, and then do it up with a spanner.